Hmm. It's going to be one of those days.
My name is Peter Olkers. I'm Vice Chair of the Needham Conservation Commission, substituting perhaps temporarily for Bernardo, who is going to be joining us later. At any rate, I'd like to open this meeting of the Needham Conservation Commission for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. Before I do that, as a preliminary matter, I have some business, Zoom-related business. So first order of business, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Sue?
Here.
Allison?
Here.
Dave?
Here.
Peter here. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Deb?
Here.
And Lisa?
Here.
And then we will check in on the anticipated speakers as we come to them in the hearing. Good evening. This open meeting of the Town of Needham Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom app, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. The general public is allowed and encouraged to ask questions during the meeting when directed by the commission chair and through the use of the raise hand feature associated with the Zoom meeting app. Those that have questions or comments regarding a particular hearing will be called upon in the order that they raise their hand. So please be patient. All supporting materials have been provided to members of this body and are available on the Conservation Commission website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each hearing on the agenda. I will introduce the applicant and or their consultant to begin their project presentation. After they conclude their presentation, the chair will go down the list of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment or questions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and please state your name before speaking. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. All right, so that's the preliminary business. Deb, anything to get us started?
I guess since we have a full agenda, we could go over our minutes and enforcements at the end.
At the end, okay. And I mean, we can go through an order unless there's some reason not to. Do you want to take care of some COCs first?
No, I guess we'll just stick with the order.
All right. First on the agenda, I'd like to open the hearing on 46, 50, 62, 94 Heather Lane, MWRA Siphon Structure Project, DEP file number 234903. This is a continued notice of intent. And so who is here for that particular?
Milan Horbachevsky with MWRA. How you doing tonight?
Very good.
Good. And I've also got Mike Cunningham from Kleinfelder with me as well. So we're here to discuss, the language that would go into special conditions within the order. I have spoken with Tree Warden Ed Olson regarding the matter, and I think he concurs on how we'd like to handle it. And we've spoken with Deb this week as well. I'm not sure if the commission's been aware of, or if you guys have any discussion, and then since the last time,
No,
how to handle
so
it.
they
Okay.
haven't been updated on.
No, so this would be the discussion. So please update us and what you've determined.
Okay, so what we're offering is, something in the special conditions that would have us replace the dozen trees that we're taking down with 1.5-inch caliper trees. And during the construction contract itself, the
We
determination.
should probably back up because they still think that we were just figuring out how much money you guys were gonna donate.
Okay, well, we talked about that the last time. We talked about, the possibility of some kind of a cash in lieu of, and that is something that's still on the table, but during the construction. What we'd like to do is, in our construction contract documents, we would intend to replace the trees, and the contractor would bid upon that. Even though it's a lump sum, there'll be a schedule of values associated with his bid. So there will be a dollar figure that's connected with tree replacement. And during the contract itself, and toward the end of the contract, quite frankly, it wouldn't be up front. It would be toward the end. It'd be determined whether there would be an area that the town tree warden would like the trees planted. And he had offered probably the best place that he could see would be in the nursery that the tree warden has. So that's what he would suggest where the trees would end up.
I see.
Or some kind of a cash in lieu of from the contractor, not directly from the authority, be through the contractor.
I
So
see.
that's how we were looking at handling that.
I see. So one way or another, they end up in Ed Olson's tree nursery, whether he buys them
Yes.
himself with the money donated or if the contractor donates the
Yes.
trees.
Unless he finds a place for them where he'd like the contractor to plant them. So that's also the other option. So the
Got
contractor
it. So
may plant them based on direction given by both the authority and Ed Olson. But if you can't find anything, he suggested that probably the nursery is where they're going to end up.
I
That's
hear
what we prefer.
so the donation of the trees does hinge on that sort of decision. Okay. Very good.
Yes, exactly. And what we were looking at is the replacement in like I said, the dozen that we're taking down, maybe with a factor of safety in case a couple extra come down, that we'd obviously try to make you whole as to that, and so we put in there at least a dozen. And what we'll do is we'll have a planting schedule within our construction documents, basically, specifying the species and so forth, and allocated for the town of Needham at this location.
Okay. Very good.
The only difference, I think, is that the town's looking for a larger caliper, I think, at this point, than
Okay.
1.5 inch.
What would the town be?
I think, Dave, you were talking about this the other day.
So-
Are you looking for 2 to 2.5 inch, I think?
Yeah, I think we had agreed that the standard was 2.5, and we're in the process of revising our guidelines.
Okay,
At least
All right, but this is language that would be put in the special conditions.
Yeah.
so I did send you
the
guys the
order.
draft order last night.
And
And the language is in there.
Yeah, and it's the two, but there's some contingency if you're unable to find. Is that right, or is it? Or the contingency is more about the money donation or the.
So I thought the money donation was off the table, so I'll
Okay.
have to reword it if that,
Well,
is still a potential.
if I could say, the money donation, wouldn't be done up front. If anything, that's a possibility at the end, but having spoken with Ed Olson, he'd prefer the trees.
Okay.
So like I say, at the end, if for some reason that the town does not want the trees, then some kind of, negotiation will be made with the contractor on a cash payment in lieu of.
So should I have that as part of the condition that the,
Is it needed, Lauren,
Contractor.
or we just keep it to the replacement of trees?
I would suggest that. I would not necessarily offer the in lieu of. I mean, that's something
Okay.
that will be worked out by the by the authority, the contractor, and the town. And in this case, I assume that the tree warden would be speaking on behalf of the
Yeah.
town at this point.
Okay. And I'd like to remind people in the audience that the reason we're able to do the one-to-one tree replacement in this case is that this is actually technically an exempt activity, and so it's really this is a friendly gesture by the applicant.
Thank you.
All right, so discussion. Dave, any questions?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Sue, any questions?
Yeah, so for all the trees that will be taken down, any tree replacements will not go on site. It will go into, according to Ed Olson, whether it's in other parts of Needham. In other words, there won't be any replacement trees planted on site. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. And the reasoning for that is that it's an existing easement that we're looking to clear.
Right.
That's that small swath of the 10-foot, roughly 10-foot swath of the 40 feet, and we don't want to replace anything onto the existing easement, as trees shouldn't actually be on the easement itself. And we reached out to private property owners along Heather Lane, and none of them wanted to take any trees upon their property off of our easement.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Allison, any questions? Allison, I think we're having the
Sorry about that. No, I'm all set. Thank you.
fantastic.
Sorry about that.
Anyone in the audience have their hands up?
No.
Okay, fantastic. I guess we're ready to close, right? Anything else, Deb?
So they are doing work in the 25-foot buffer, so I guess you would vote to waive that.
So are we, but we still need to close the hearing, right?
I'm sorry. Yes, we do.
And then we'll issue,
Yes.
and then that will come up. But as long as the applicant's here, they've submitted the appropriate paperwork and
Right. Yep.
request. Okay, perfect.
So,
All right, so motion is, can I have a motion to close the hearing on 46, 50, 62, 94 Heather Lane MWRI siphon project, DEP file number 234903.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor? Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Peter, I. Okay, here the hearing is closed, and so we'll move on then to the order of conditions with the revised language.
Okay, thank you. If I
Thank you
might
very
add,
much.
are we able to see the language prior to being issued to us, or?
You can, I don't know, Deb, do you have a time? I mean,
Well,
we do it in
I
public.
mean, they're gonna vote to issue it at the end of this meeting, so you wouldn't have a chance before then to review it.
Okay, typically what we do with most commissions is that the hearing is closed and then we work out the fine details of the language. I mean, I'm certainly, if we don't have it up front, typically that's how it's done.
Deb,
Well, once the hearing's closed, then there isn't any more discussion about it with the applicants. So,
And I definitely would like it closed. I don't want to continue again. So I
Okay.
that we would see the language or agree upon the language. Are we basically saying that we're looking at replacing 12 at 2.5?
yep.
Okay.
So. I don't know, Peter, do you want me to read that one condition?
yeah, that would be okay,
Okay.
just
So
to make
where,
it clear.
where the Needham Conservation Commission guidelines for reviewing tree removal projects requires a 2-to-1 tree replacement. If that cannot be fulfilled, the mitigation of the 1-to-1 ratio of tree planting of a minimum 2.5-inch caliper to removal will be allowed. The MWRA's contractor shall plant 12 native replacement trees for the trees proposed for removal as shown on the approved plans. The tree species shall be chosen from the list supplied in the guidelines for reviewing tree removal projects document. The MWRA's contractor shall plant the mitigation trees in locations determined by the Town of Needham tree warden with approval from conservation staff.
Okay, I think the approval of the authority also needs to be included in that.
What do you mean by authority?
Well, the MWRA. I mean, we're obviously specifying how it's going to be done since it's our contract. So typically that's how it's stated. For example, the tree warden cannot direct the authority's contractor. So
Okay,
so it would be in conjunction with the authority and the tree warden.
Yeah, we just said, I think
Direction.
approval of both, right?
Yeah.
Approval of the authority and the tree warden.
and conservation staff.
Okay. So the three.
Okay. So tree warden, the authority. And staff. Okay.
Very good.
That's good.
Okay,
All
thank you for
right.
reading
Who do you
that.
want me to send this to be recorded?
Send it to me, Deb. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Kleinfelder, yes.
All right.
Thank you very
will
much.
do.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
everyone's time.
Good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'd now like to open the hearing. Actually, there's two. I need to open them separately. Open the hearing for 920 South Street, Lot 1, DEP file number 234905, a continued notice of intent. And 920 South Street, Lot 2, DEP file number 234904, another continued notice of intent. Who's here representing?
Arthur Allen from Ecotech.
Arthur Allen from Ecotech. And that's it?
The applicant is here and the project surveyor is also here.
And I'm sorry, the name of the project surveyor?
Vern Porter.
Vern Porter. All right. Very good. So please begin. Tell us what you've done since we've last met.
Thank you. May I share screen?
Yes, Elisa, is that
Yeah, I know.
you may, yes, please
No
do
problem.
if you're able.
There we go. Can you see that?
I see you've started. Yeah, now we can see the plan.
Okay, great. So since the last meeting, we revisited the plans and the site. As part of the discussion at the last meeting for this 2-lot subdivision, the off-site wetland associated with Lot 1 was staked out in the field. That's across the driveway to 914 to the east. That was staked out in the field for viewing by the commission. We also depicted the driveway to Lot 2. It's outside of the buffer, but there was a question about why it wasn't shown, so we added that to the plan. And I'll scroll down. We revisited the tree removal proposal for the buffer zone, and we've reduced the number of 6-inch plus caliper tree removals to just 9. And those are all now on Lot 2 in the vicinity of the proposed stormwater system. So they're in green down in the 50 to 100-foot buffer. As you may remember, we have no work within 50 feet on either lot, but we have no tree removals on Lot 1 buffer and just 9 on Lot 2. We've shown 18 replacement trees, and we've shown them in the buffers, both on Lot 1 and Lot 2. And then we also I also revised the wildlife habitat assessment, and I incorporated the specific requirements of the local policy on habitat assessment. And essentially, I didn't provide a whole lot more detail on habitat on Lot 1. because the regulations, the local regulations specifically say forested upland vegetation where this occurs directly adjacent to forested vegetated wetlands provides an important buffer. And because we're separated from the wetland by a driveway, a retaining wall, a maintained area, we're certainly not directly adjacent. So, you know, we've reduced the impacts to the only important feature by eliminating tree removals. But lot 2, clearly the outer buffer is directly adjacent to wetland B. So I provided a little more detail. Essentially, still the entire understory is a non-native invasives in that area with minimal habitat value. Plus, there's developed lots on both sides of that outer buffer on lot 2. So really, again, the only significant habitat features in that outer buffer on lot 2 are the trees. We've reduced that to 9, and we're doing the 2-to-1 replacement. So I believe we've met the requirements for the habitat loss associated with those 9 trees. So that's a summary of the revisions. If I've missed anything, Brian and Vern, please feel free to jump in. Otherwise, we're here to answer questions. Thank you.
So just to be clear, in the 25 to 50 buffer area where you're proposing trees to be planted, that currently, what's there now? Is that lawn? Is that
No, it's a wooded buffer, fairly sparse overstory. But they went out to the site and looked and found areas where they thought that the trees would take and would be appropriate in that area. It's the 0 to 50 foot buffer on lot 2 is certainly good quality. There's minimal invasives, but there's some openings in the canopy down there where they're showing tree replacements.
and there was also invasives removal as part of the mitigation for this?
Well, the invasives are primarily in the 50 to 100 foot buffer where the work is going to occur. So that area will be cleared. The invasives will be removed. That area will become a stormwater infiltration system that has vegetation over it. There'll be maintained vegetation over the stormwater system. So that will be converted from invasives to
Got it. So it's just really just going to be mowed down.
correct.
I guess historically one of the questions the commission will ask is how that's going to be done, because there's a time of year when particular kinds of invasives are more effectively mowed than others, particularly when they're seed bearing. So.
Well, in this case, it's going to be mowed and excavated. So there's an underground stormwater system going in that area.
No, just so seeds don't spread to the other areas.
I see.
But other commissioners may have more detailed questions about that. All right, so let me go around and ask.
And remember, you have that letter to read into the record.
I
too.
will, yeah, when we get to the abutter
Okay.
portion. Thank you, Deb.
Sure.
If you don't mind, I had some additional information I'd like to add before we go.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Sure.
That's why I raised my hand. Vern Porter,
Mhm.
354 Elliott Street, Newton, Mass. I'm the land surveyor. Some of the additional staking we did so that when you guys go out there, so Brian and I could evaluate the trees, is we also staked all the 100-foot buffer lines. So those were all staked out in the field. We staked the east side of the proposed utility easement. On the east side of the property, there's a utility easement that we're proposing. So we staked the edge of that easement and the property line. So anything between those two are not being touched. So if you do go out to sea, you'll see that there's a larger area along the property lines that they're just not going to be disturbed. And the same thing on the west side, we did stake out the 10-foot planting area as well as the property line. So you'll be able to see there are some trees in that area that just effectively will be staying there. And that's how we were able to evaluate all the trees that we could keep and reduce them in half. So, you know, when you do go out, if we do go out, I don't think it's, you'll be able to see exactly where we're going to be disturbing and what things are. And just to add on top of the, you know, we are going to be installing that back area. We're going to be installing a drainage, and on top of that would just be a lawn. It'll be maintained as part of the yard to that property. It's a covered, it's not an open basin. It's infiltration that's underground and covered, and it'll be, you know, a lawn will be planted on top.
Right, so ultimately it is lawn conversion.
Yes.
Okay, just to be clear. All right, let me go around and ask commissioners individually then. Dave, questions, comments?
Yeah, I actually went out to the site yesterday and, you know, I thought they did a good job identifying, you know, where the buffer was and also the trees that were going to be removed. And, you know, I don't see any problem with what they're proposing. One question I do have is in that area where the trees are going to be removed, that is going to be the infiltration area, but I didn't see that noted on the plans. Maybe I missed it.
Let me scroll up.
I'm sorry.
I'll just scroll up to that utility plan. Hang on a second. Oh, Vern, is this, I guess the utility plan didn't get into this second set, did it?
I think it was in the previous one. I think this was just like the updated ones from the last meeting, but we can certainly add this page as well.
All right, no big deal.
I mean, so it's not changed from the original, the location of those.
No,
No.
it's actually right here.
And it's labeled as easement right there. There's dash
Green.
lines around
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's right in there.
That is the infiltration area.
And you've done a test pit?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
3 test pits there.
You have done a test pit?
Yes.
And where is that?
In both
That-
locations, both drainage locations, we have done test pits.
And that information was in the original submittal?
It's in the drainage calculations, yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, I got no more questions.
Okay, good. Sue, any questions, comments?
I have no comment, but I did try to go visit it today, but the fence was up. So I didn't get up. I didn't get in. But I have no comment.
Allison?
I just have 2 tiny suggestions on the replacement trees, the species. I found that even though you're taking a red cedar down, when in the species options, you have red cedar. I found that they're hard to transplant and get to take, even in small sizes. So you might want to reconsider that one, unless you just love it and you get little teeny ones, which it's not going to really work for the size that required. The other thing is, instead of a white oak, I do a swamp white. White oaks are super hard to transplant. They have tap roots. They're just really hard to get to establish. So either a swamp and maybe, you know, instead of the cedar, you might think of, it's not evergreen, but like a pin oak or another black gum. I see you took a black gum down, which was kind of neat. That there is a black gum over there. They're not that common around here. So just suggestions. It's not
I appreciate
in
that.
order. Just so you have success, that's all.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, and that's it?
That's it.
Okay, so I'll need to reduce my screen just to see this. I do have to read something into the minutes. This is a letter written by an abutter, whose name I will try to pronounce correctly, Dr. Sergey Aliev, who is at 31 Merritt Drive. And he writes, "Dear Commission members, I've reviewed the revised notices of intent. I have one question about the updated materials. In the revised wildlife report, it states that, quote, the removal of the invasive understory species will generally improve local habitat conditions, end quote. I do not see any information about what kind of revegetation is proposed for the understory. Will shrubs and herbaceous plantings will also be added when the trees are replaced? I think this should be required to restore the wildlife habitat where work will be done in the buffer zone and reflected in the NOI. I include my letter. And I include my letter, Needham Conservation Commission guidelines for reviewing tree removal projects, signed Sergey Aliev. Is there anyone else in the audience who might have their hands up?
There are people, but no one has raised their hand.
Okay, very good. So would you like to respond to his question?
Well, I mean, as we've discussed, that 50 to 100-foot buffer on lot 2, you know, where we focus the habitat assessment, that area will be, you know, converted to the stormwater, underground stormwater system and revegetated with lawns. So there really aren't any opportunities for.
Does it have to be revegetated as lawn?
I believe so, Vern.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to build this for myself. I have 3 kids, so I'd like to have a backyard for them to play, to be honest.
We don't want things gonna grow in there that are roots gonna get in. This is very shallow, so we don't want trees or shrubs over the.
Yeah, no,
drainage.
I was just thinking of like a pollinator seed mix or some kind of.
We have the opportunity maybe to do some plantings around the, you know, in the planting strips that we won't touch, in that other area between the easement and the property line that we won't touch. So a lot of the area that we were going to disturb, we're not going to disturb anymore. So I think enough of it'll stay there, and then the area that we're using is not the whole thing, and it's in the outer buffer zone. It's beyond the 50 feet. So I think there'll be enough left that we're not going to affect it that much.
Right. And then within the areas that are being replanted, we'll concentrate on planting those trees first. You say that there's not much of there's no understory. There's not much vegetation there right now? Or
No, there
it's
is,
sort of
there is,
spotty?
but we're not going to disturb it, is what we're
But
saying.
that's not the invasives that you see in the other area.
No, the inner buffers are actually pretty good quality on that lot too. It's really I think just because of the proximity to the old house that was heavily planted and landscaped, I think the invasives really got going in that outer buffer, but the inner buffer is good, very good quality. You know, a somewhat sparse overstory, allowing us to do the tree plantings, but the understory is natives and good quality natives.
There is
so-
a sewer easement crossing right there as well.
Yeah.
If you notice, we planted the trees south of the sewer easement, because there is a sewer easement that serves
Yes,
Moran Drive. So that's why we didn't plant them in that.
I hear you.
Is the commission going to be looking for permanent bounds along the 50?
That's what I'm wondering, whether, I mean, and there are the variety of places on the lots that could have potentially bounds on them. That for this project you've protected, but who knows whether they're, you know, future people will be as sensitive. So, so along this 50 line, though the plantings actually stretch into the 100 area too. But this 50 line, because that is the no disturb line, that makes sense to put some bounds there, right?
It's not the entire 50 to 100. I'll go to the buffer disturbance plan. If my computer will
The 50 is the no disturb line, so.
Yeah, so legally, the 50 is the no disturb line, so even, so that's where, you know, we can.
If you wanted to just condition a few monuments or along there, I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
wonder also in the
Well,
other
even-
lot then, where there's the 50 no disturb.
The other lot, the 50 is on someone else's property.
Oh, is that really?
The buffer, yeah, the buffer's really, very little buffer is on our property on that lot one.
Oh, so that dotted line actually, oh,
It's the 100.
Yeah.
got it.
The
It's on
green is-
Reg Foster's property.
Yeah.
the Wetland.
So
The
that
green,
just
the
sticks
green
in
is
there.
the outer buffer to be disturbed on both lots. Two small sections on lot one and then the larger section on lot two.
Got it.
But we could put some on lot two, you know, if we put say
Yep.
4 bounds across that 50.
Yeah,
you know,
Just
on
don't
the
cut
south.
down these trees. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, just to make it so that people knew where it was in the future.
And this will be in the order, but just to remind you that within that new lawn area, the sort of the normally there's no use of pesticides and fertilizer and that sort of thing.
Any condition like that would be acceptable to us.
Okay.
There's natural stuff that we can use, so we'll just make sure whatever is used is what's allowed.
And even if it's guano, that does still wash off and create a problem.
I get it.
So let's see. So are we good? Deb, is there anything else that you can think of?
Elisa, there's still the neighbor doesn't have their hand up or anything, right?
No neighbors with hands up.
All right. So you can close if you want. It'll be issued at the next meeting. Or hold off and close and issue the next meeting.
Yeah, so I guess if there's anything specific that the commission wants, but that didn't sound like in the discussion anything new came up. I think some of us, that's me, in order to vote on this, will need to watch the previous hearing anyway. So I don't think we're not gonna be approving the order tonight. Yeah, so
You want to just continue?
well, does it make sense to continue then?
Well, let's see.
If we continue, I'm just questions. If we continue at the next meeting, we will have an order until we vote it and then have an order that would be signed at the same time.
Well, the
Unfortunately,
commission comes in and signs it when they're available.
Okay,
So you wouldn't, because we're remote, so you wouldn't get it.
that's fine. Just the time is, I think we're at like a second or third meeting now. We skipped a meeting, so it's our third. So if we could
Well,
do one-
the first meeting, there was a lot of lack of information,
Oh,
so.
I understand.
And the commissions were waiting for the revised plan.
No,
to
I
do a
understand
site visit.
100%. I'm just trying to answer questions
Yeah.
that the client will have.
yeah, so the
Um,
advantage for you to have us continue is that if there are any discussion about special conditions that come up, then you could be involved before we close the hearing.
Perfect. That sounds great.
So if you want to continue, we can do that. But I think the plan is to have something drafted
Mhm.
and then for us to sign off the next week.
That sounds great.
Okay, so motion to continue. And this would be continued. So let me read off the official motion to continue 2 different lots, 920 South Street Lot 1, 920 South Street Lot 2. And this would be continued to
July
July
13th.
13th.
Yep.
Can I
So
hear?
moved. So moved.
A second,
Dave
Second.
seconded.
second, Allison second. Okay, so all in favor, Dave, Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Peter, I. So this will be continued, but hopefully finished. on July 13th.
No, no, thank you very much for your time, your consideration, and your input. It's very, very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Let me find my agenda again.
All right, so the next one, 199 Maple, the applicant requested a continuance for revised plans to the 7/13 meeting.
Okay, so let me open it. I'd like to open the hearing for 199 Maple Street, DEP file number 234907, a continued notice of intent. The applicant wants to continue to July 13th. Can I have a motion to continue?
So moved.
I'll second.
Dave second. All in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Peter? Aye, so that's continued. The next one is Grove Street. So I'd like to open the hearing on 320 Grove Street, DEP file number 234908. This is a continued notice of intent. Is there anyone here to represent?
Yeah, the applicant is here, Corbin Petra and Jessica Gelman. And then Ryan from Metro West Engineering will be speaking on our behalf. We just wanted to take a moment and just thank you for taking a second look. We heard you all loud and clear last time on the no new build and the 25-foot buffer. So we've made adjustments. And generally, we just, we think we made some great improvements to the property, including for our neighbors to support the increased flooding and wetlands that we have in the backyard of our house. So we just wanted to flag that again. Again, we never intended to have to deal with this flooding, but really would like to stay here at our property.
Understood. Yeah, so can you just, for the record, fill us in exactly how you changed the plan?
Yep, I'll hand it to Brian for the very detailed engineering specifications.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Brian Nelson with Metro West Engineering. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And Brian and the applicants, I apologize. I did not have time to talk with you guys today. I've been, we have a very busy agenda, so I was out on sites all day.
No worries.
So I apologize.
One housekeeping issue is we do have a DEP file number, which is 234908. We did not have that at the initial hearing. And just to kind of go over some of the stuff we touched upon last time, and I think the real reason we're here tonight is for basically the raising of the existing house, which has had several incidents with flooding or chronic flooding. And I just wanted to kind of start out with just showing you where in town we are. We are located at 320 Grove Street. So we have frontage off of Grove Street in Wellesley, and the town line clips the westerly side of the property. House is located in this kind of triangular area just east of the Needham Wellesley town line. And it's a larger parcel, and as it extends east, this area is wet. We do have an unnamed intermittent stream that flows through here, which is, definitely had flooding issues where it's run over bank several times and flooded the basement of the house and the surrounding terraces and things like that. And there's some drainage constrictions of this channel as it becomes piped further downstream, which have aided the flooding. But the Beardway subdivision, there are several large wetland areas and detention basins, and those I think have had an impact on this wetland and the corresponding flooding as well. So that I just wanted to kind of step back a little bit and show you that. This is the proposed site plan, and basically what we've done is zoom in just a little bit, and as we, sorry about that. Let's go back to that. As we were at the last meeting, we had some of the northerly part of the house. The red is basically that 25-foot, I'll call it the no disturb zone. And so a part of the initial submittal, the northerly part, this part of the house was located within that. So what we've done is the architect has reconfigured the house and kind of squished it together a little bit almost. And we've basically slid it west a few feet, about 4.5 feet. And then we've slid it south also to get away from the stream bank, but also the wetland area that's adjacent to the stream bank just north of the property on the abutting lot. So that's really the biggest change, is that what we've done is we've adjusted grading and to basically just slide southwest with the new house location. The driveway location is still the same, and still offering the restoration area along the north side and the east side, and then permeable patio up here. So those are really the summaries. That was really the biggest change. I'd just like to point out that with the kind of the reconfiguration, we still have significant reductions of impervious area in the 25-foot no disturb and what I'll call the 50-foot no build. You know, the 25-foot no disturb reduction is about 1,500 square feet in comparison to the existing condition. And it's a reduction of about 512 square feet in the 50-foot no build. We do have an increase in between the 50-foot and the 100-foot wetland buffer, but that we feel is, you know, an acceptable offset for the improvements we're providing, especially in the no disturb, but also the 50-foot no build. With that, I'd be happy to stop my screen share and answer any questions.
Good, and it does. We don't have to be looking at it, but the proposed, was it deck or sort of stairway and deck, does cross over the 25 line, but last meeting the commissioners indicated that that was going to be okay.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say that for the record. But the sort of the impermeable is no longer in that area. Okay, perfect. So I'll go around, ask individual commissioners. Dave, any questions, comments?
Yeah, was this plan formally submitted? Because this is the first time I've seen it.
This plan was put together last weekend. We had gotten architectural plans last Friday. So I spent the rainy day Saturday and part of Sunday in here working on this. So we reviewed it with the owners Monday night and resubmitted it Tuesday. So we are happy to roll any comments we received tonight into a stamped and signed resubmittal. If there are no adjustments to be made, we'll stamp them and sign them and get them in. I'm not in the office tomorrow, but I'll have them in for you on Monday.
Yeah, Deb, what are the rules on that? Because the formal rule is they need to be submitted a week so that the commissioners have a chance to look at them and
Right.
examine them.
Yeah, that's usually your standard.
Right,
What
well-
are there exceptions to that, or that's grounds to push this off for another meeting?
So this isn't drafted. So it will be put off till the next meeting anyways.
I see. So it's not stamped. So okay. So this needs. So you just want our comments tonight
That's
in order
correct.
to build them in, and if in the official version there are any changes, we'll see that by the next meeting. Okay, fantastic.
You know,
Dave,
Is
does that answer your
is
question?
the proposed patio pervious?
What I'll do is I'll add a note to it, but we had discussed that at the first meeting. Yes, that would be for us. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
And then we'll need details on exactly how that's going to be.
sure.
Dave,
Yeah.
did that answer your question?
yeah, it did, and you know, I appreciate the relocation of the building. I think it looks nice, and I have no further comment.
Very good. Sue?
Yeah, I'm still confused on what's within the 25-foot. Exactly. There's still a corner.
It's a corner of the deck.
Right in here.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a corner of the proposed deck. That's correct.
And what will the deck be standing on?
The deck will be elevated. It's a first floor deck, so it'll be about probably about 5 or 6 feet above finished grade, so there'll be stone underneath it. The deck will sit on, I'm assuming probably 4 sonotubes and posts.
Okay. I'm waiting to see what other commissioners have to say. Okay.
Is that it, Sue?
I just feel we should be consistent. Yeah, I just feel we should be consistent with our 25-foot no disturb zone. So I think it's important to see exactly what the deck is going to be consisting of. That's all. Done.
Yeah, so if we can get as much information as possible by the next hearing, just to make sure that we're all clear about what's happening then.
Hi, may I ask Peter a question?
Yes.
Just so we are clear, what is permissible from the deck?
Yeah, we thought we left the last meeting. with
I was under the same impression, to be honest. Deb, do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, I had circulated our bylaw, different parts of our bylaw that pertained to the 25-foot before the last meeting. So it does appear as though the bylaw does allow decks within the 25-foot, not actual structures with foundations and such. So, and I believe that it's the same with the Mosley property, that you're allowing a deck in the 25-foot on sonotubes, essentially.
Yeah, I thought we had discussed as long as we had put something pervious underneath stone, and then we had some gaps in the decking boards that would be considered a permeable surface.
Yeah. Sue, does that sound right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was going to go underneath the deck? What would that be underneath the deck?
Some some clean washed stone. Just something that will require a little maintenance, but also allow water to filter into the ground as it trickles down through the gaps in deck boards.
And what's there now in that area?
There's a deck there right now. So I can zoom in a little bit on this one, but the existing house is shown in brown here, and there's a longer, narrower deck right now. And actually, there's more deck presently located in the 25-foot than there will be in the proposed condition.
Okay, and was there a patio too?
There's a pretty large patio along basically the entire rear part of the house.
Very good. Anything else, Sue?
A permeable patio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It would be a permeable patio.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
and we'll add a note on the site plan, and we'll provide a porous paver detail as well.
Thank you. Allison, any questions?
Yes, just a couple. One is, could you possibly zoom in on the area between the purple restoration area and the side of the house, the upper, the north side? I don't know if that's the north side or not. Because I'm looking at I'm trying to see what the grades are. What you're doing with the grading. Are you filling or are you cutting?
It's a little bit of both, actually. There's kind of it's a little hummocky as you come in off the driveway. It dips down and then it rises back up. So in this area right here, there's a slight cut, about 1.5 feet. And then what we're doing is, what I've tried to do is just leave a small, relatively level area along the side of the house. And then we're grading down with a 2-to-1 slope to catch existing grade.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm just want to ask Peter, is it okay to fill with a 25 that much?
What's the condition? There's a house on there right now, isn't there?
There's a house there.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so it's better than it was. All right.
It is,
so that's
and we
okay.
feel with the restoration area too, that
Yeah,
there'll be
that's
just
fine.
a better
Okay.
established,
Okay.
buffer
Okay.
between the two properties and a little
Yeah.
buffer. wetland
Yeah, so
boundary.
they're not disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anything, yeah. So the
Yeah.
other question is, I see you're like CSAR, I can guess what they are, but do you have a list of what the symbols are in the restoration area? Maybe you zoom.
We do, and I can show you. So there are two red maples to be planted. We've got some red osier dogwoods, some sweet pepper bush, and then kind of a scattered amount of cinnamon fern.
So do we have the right amount of replacement for what you're taking down? I'm just curious.
There's, I think, only one tree to come down, so we're replacing that with two red maples. and
Oh,
then,
okay. So that's it. Okay.
Yeah, and then the dogwoods and the sweet pepper bush are shrubs.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's all this mitigation.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the back.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience have their hands up?
No.
All right. All right. So once again, there's a significant amount of work being done within the 25. It's mostly in the spirit of restoration. We do have a waiver requirement, and I assume that you filled out the paperwork for that.
That's correct. The application and the requester in the narrative.
And so you're requesting a return of the fee, the waiver of the fee.
Believe we had actually with our and let me just check the fees. I believe we had paid the waiver fee. But if it could be returned, I certainly don't think we would say no to that. Yeah.
It's a matter of discussion. Yeah, if you request it, then you know. Otherwise, we'll just have to consult with our staff in order to figure out how much. work
Yeah,
is
so
gonna
it's
be
a
required.
formal request that you should have in writing for them.
Yeah,
to
so if you can
discuss.
do it by if you want to do it, you should have it by the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, and I'll take a look and see. I'm just scanning through the narrative right now. I may have put it in there, but if not, I can write a separate letter for that.
Fantastic. All right, any other things from commissioners that popped into your head? Otherwise, we can continue this to July 13th. No? I'll take a motion then. I'll read off the official, if I can find it again. I'll read off the agenda. So this would be 320 Grove Street, DB file number 234-908. Continue to July 13th. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
So
So Dave moved,
I'll second.
second Sue. All in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Peter, aye. So this will be continued to July 13th. Another very busy meeting.
Mm,
Let's all be there.
Yeah.
Do you think we'd have an opportunity to see a draft order by that meeting, or is it kind of hinging on what we discuss at the next meeting?
That's a good question.
Well,
It's a
so the
yeah.
commission doesn't typically share draft
Okay,
exhibits. So I would say not. But they will be discussing it at that meeting. If you want to be there and listen in.
oh, certainly, we'll definitely attend, and we can kind of field any extra questions if there are any, but we will get everything.
Yeah,
we
the meeting will still be open, so you can still have discussion until they close it and vote to issue it, so.
Okay,
Perfect.
appreciate your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All
So
right.
25 Mallard is going to be continuing for revised plans as well.
And they also want July 13th.
Yes.
Oh, boy. All right, so 25, I'd like to open the hearing for 25 Mallard Road, DEP file number 234. Does this have a DEP file number?
I think that Karen Catrone said that it got one today. But I haven't had time to look at it.
All right, just for the record, we don't have it yet on the agenda, but it's going to be continued anyway. So this would be a notice of intent. So can I have a motion to continue to July 13th?
So move.
Second,
A second.
all in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Peter, aye. So this is also continued to July 13th.
Yep, and
All
it
right.
is number 909.
909 for the record,
234-909.
234909. Okay. All right, last hearing would be on, I'll open it now, 1659 Great Plain Avenue. This is a request for determination of applicability. Do we have representatives here?
It's Diane from Field Resources. I'm here this evening for the applicant, who is also the owner of the property at 1659. He is looking to, first, let me start by saying I'm hoping not to be continued to the 13th. But I believe this should be pretty easy for you all this evening. And basically, we have a, if I could share, can I share?
Please do,
screen with
please
you
share.
all? Okay, let me just get to that. Let's see, let me just open this up. So, I'm sorry, I know you see the Zoom screen. And in here is the plan. Do you see the plan?
It is, though, it's, if you
Sideways.
could change the orientation, would be great.
Yeah, I'm just trying to filter through all my pop-ups here that we have from the Zoom meeting. There we go. So on the left side, we have the existing family, single-family home with a screened-in porch. Currently, there's a shed, all with it's all fenced in. That's within the buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetland that is on the abutting property to the north of Locust. So that's the existing conditions. And then proposed conditions here on the right side. Existing conditions is the single family home is approximately 72, more than 72 feet away from the bordering vegetated wetland. The proposed site, we are proposing to remove the shed, leave the fencing, and add a new single family home, which would be substantially further away and substantially reducing the impervious within your jurisdiction and the resource area. Currently, the lot is completely lawn, and there are a few minor shrubs in the back or around the yard, sporadically throughout the yard. So the project that we have does include infiltration. We have erosion control. There are no trees to be removed. So it's a pretty straightforward project, and we're hoping that we can get a negative determination of applicability. Currently, there's 661 square feet of existing building within your jurisdiction. And the proposed building will only add back 34 square feet, which is a little portion of the bump out here on the proposed house.
So
and
is
this-
the proposed patio?
It is a
permeable?
proposed that it will be, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I think that's pretty much what we have for you this evening. Again, I think it's pretty cut and dry. I think it's, improvement to the resource area and that there's less impervious within the jurisdiction. And the existing fencing does create, our limit of work, including, which we will also have the erosion control right along that fence line.
Good, so you'll be able to keep all the stockpiling and that sort of stuff outside of the 100-foot?
We can put that in, yes. Because there's plenty of room in the front. Sometimes, I mean, some of the lot, during the dig, for short term, there may be some in the back. Only because.
Well, you have to remove the house, so yeah, exactly.
Right, so, yeah.
Did you
for
guys
short-
already do test pits?
They have done test pits, yes. The groundwater wasn't as high as we thought it was going to be. I don't have that information in front of me here. But the concrete, the proposed foundation is set based on that, that test pit.
Very good. And I'm sorry, somehow this may not have made it to the recording. I didn't hear it clearly. The proposed patio is permeable?
It will be, yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'll go around to commissioners, see if they have any questions. Dave?
Yeah, where is the test pit information?
The test pit information, don't have that with me this evening. But they did do a test pit in the back and in the front. And again, the top of concrete, or the concrete is based on the test pit, and I can supply that, if it didn't get into, I know they were doing that, right at the time of submission, so I'm not quite sure if it actually made the packet, but that can be sent to you, Debbie.
Yeah, I can just add that as a condition on it, or just not issue it until I receive it, if you'd like, Dave.
Dave, does that sound appropriate?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, particularly if it's an RDA and we're not going to do a formal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I got no more questions.
Allison?
No questions. It's very
Sue?
simple.
Sue?
No comment.
All right, I'm good. Deb, any more information that we might think about?
Nope, I was just gonna condition the test pits if they hadn't been done yet, but they have, so I'll just, I'll do our standard, negative determination with our erosion controls and the, 3-day notice of work.
Mhm.
And I'll just hold on to it, and Diane can give me the, test pit information. And,
All right.
I can forward that to the commission if they'd like. And other than that, I think we're good.
Okay, fantastic. So this is for 1659 Great Plain Avenue. So I want a motion for negative determination of applicability.
So close the hearing.
Oh, yes, that's right. I'd like to take a motion to close the hearing.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Wow.
Go, Dave.
Dave moves, Sue seconds. All in favor, Dave?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Allison?
Aye.
Peter, so close the hearing, and we can now do the vote. Take a motion for a negative determination of applicability.
So moved.
Second,
I second.
all in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Peter, aye. So that matter is finished. Thank
Okay.
you, Diane, for not coming back on July 13th.
Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'll explain the Mosley issue if you would like.
Yes, please.
So we were going to issue the order for 37 Mosley this evening. And as I was drafting it, I was thinking about who was going to be able to vote to issue it. Because it was first submitted back in January. And so I was trying to think if there were any commission members that wouldn't have missed any hearings. And also, as far as signing the Mullen form, you could only have missed one of the hearings, and you have to watch the YouTube video in order to catch up on that meeting so that you're allowed to sign the Mullen form. And
So
go
Deb,
ahead.
can I clarify? So if we've missed 2 meetings, even if we've watched one of the videos, we're still not eligible to vote.
Right. Correct. So I started looking, once again, Clay isn't here, and I had just thought of this. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They were on 10 different agendas.
But most of those were continued, right?
Some of them were continued. So we need to figure out which ones actually had testimony. which commissioners missed it, and have them actually, look at the video. So tonight is Janet's last meeting, and Steve is not returning. And Paulina was out sick tonight. So it seemed with the remaining commissioners that we might not fit all the criteria to actually vote on it tonight.
But will we ever be able to vote on? I mean, I
Well,
guess that's the
that's
question.
what we're gonna have to find out. So anyways, so I'm gonna have them sign the 21-day waiver as far as us issuing it, and figure out exactly what the situation is. I'll work on that tomorrow so that I have an answer.
Okay.
And then if we do have an issue, I'll probably contact town council and ask what their recommendation is.
Right.
It started,
Sorry?
it started in January, the first
Right.
hearing. Okay.
Yeah, January 19th.
Right, but only a subset of the meetings that were on the agenda, we actually, so once we get this sorted out, when they actually gave testimony, who was then there when they gave testimony, who was not there,
Mhm.
who watched the videos, who did not watch the videos, then it's a big accounting question.
Exactly. And I apologize, I didn't think of it before today. But
No, I mean, and given the whole situation, we want to make sure that this is above
Correct.
board in terms of all the.
Mhm.
All right,
Exactly. So I will, I'll let you know where we're at with that. And I
okay,
will
fantastic.
reach out
So
to town
we will
council.
delay issuing the order of conditions then.
Yes, and the applicant does know at this point.
Okay,
Do you
very
have a draft order of conditions? Did you send that around?
No, because I don't think we should really discuss it until we figure out who
Okay.
can actually.
who's
uh,
eligible to discuss it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So that is that. So we don't really have to do anything with that, I don't think, because it's under other business.
Okay.
So the record's gonna show
So that's
that.
not, it's not a hearing, it's just a
Right.
thing that we need to.
Could I ask a question, Deb?
Sure.
If you find out that there's a problem
Mm-hmm.
and the commissioners are gone who were at the meeting
Yeah,
and can't vote,
yeah,
and who's left, there's more than two. I'm not saying this happened, but let's just say if it, theoretically happened, what is the alternative for the applicant?
they would have to resubmit.
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, dear.
From what I hear, I've been talking to some knowledgeable people today when I thought of this issue. And so it seems as though that would be the only recourse for them to
But in theory,
resubmit and re-notify abutters and all of that.
But in theory, they could, that would be, even though there'd be a cost associated with it, that would be in and out, because we've had,
Yeah, we passed it, but still, it's a
Right.
delay. It's a delay, and then it's a cost of doing
Yeah.
that all over again.
Yeah.
Having
Mhm.
people up and whatnot.
no, that would be a shame.
Oh,
So
okay.
keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Um, but There's not so much we can do about it.
and nobody else leave.
Mm,
All right, I'll delay my departure. All right,
Thank
so,
you.
No, you're not allowed to leave.
all right, so we'll move on. Next is 50 Wildwood Drive, DEP file number 234821. This is a request for certificate of compliance. Is there anyone here to represent?
So I told them, I met them on site today and said I didn't really think that they needed to, the homeowner.
Now, can you remind us what is involved in this one?
Sure. So this is a lovely property right on the Charles River. And their project was mainly, they wanted to put in a dock. So we gave them permission to put in one of those roll-in, roll-out docks. And they also wanted to add some permeable pavers to the outside of their pool area. Essentially, they had put in a pool and they wanted to add these pavers. And So, and they also had removed 3 trees and planted 6 trees. So I went by today and the dock is in. There was actually kind of a U-shaped branch in the area where the dock was going that Artie
Yes, I
Crocker
remember.
really wanted them to keep as a wildlife feature,
Yes.
which they did. So the
Wow.
tree is still there. The dock is slightly configured differently than proposed. Instead of going out into the river straight, they thought it was going out too far into the river, so they put a little bend on the end instead. It's essentially the same square footage. And the patio around the pool is slightly smaller than what was proposed.
And this is a full, so the plantings have lasted 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So this would be a full, so I recommend issuing a full COC for that.
Fantastic. Any questions, commissioners? Dave,
No, I looked at it, looked fine.
Allison,
No,
Sue?
she's
Sue?
frozen.
No,
Ah,
Very
there,
well.
she's back. All right, so I'll take a motion then to issue the certificate of compliance.
I move we issue the certificate of compliance.
I second.
All right, all in favor for issuing certificate of compliance for 50 Wildwood Drive? Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Peter, aye. So issued. All right, moving right along.
Fabulous.
142 Fisher Street, DEP file number 234882, a request for certificates of compliance.
So the consultant had an issue with attending tonight and asked us to move that to the 7:13 meeting.
Okay, shall do. I'm sure there's no other business that will be added in addition.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Well, we have 3 weeks until the next meeting. So next week we could get in all new filings for that meeting.
Right.
It'll be very
Right.
exciting.
No. Looking forward.
Yeah,
All right, so we don't need to do anything. That's just
Yeah.
postponed.
that's just on there.
All right, 768 Chestnut Street. What is this? The 116 Heather Lane extension?
Yep.
DEP file number 234-863, request for certificate of compliance.
Yep. So this was grading. They had removed trees and had a proposed planting plan for replacement. So I went there today and we also got a report from the arborist. And I only saw 1 tree and 1 shrub, I think, that didn't make it of the proposed planting. So they're well above
So that
the
passes.
75% and looking great. So I would
Okay.
also recommend a complete COC for that.
Is there anyone here to represent that, or is?
I don't, so that would have been, so that's Bill Piersack and Kelly Engineering. And I didn't see anyone show up.
Brandon Lee
so-
is here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see everybody on my screen.
Brandon, do you have anything to add?
No, I think everything was done in accordance to the approved plans and permits.
Fantastic.
I agree.
Okay, very
Sorry,
good.
didn't see you there.
All right, I'll go around the commissioners for questions, comments. Dave,
No comment.
Sue,
No comment.
Allison?
No comment.
I have no comment, so I'll take a motion to issue this certificate of compliance for 768 Chestnut Street, 116 Heather Lane extension.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Frozen.
Sue, if you said yes,
Aye.
please say it again. Oh, very good. Okay, and Peter,
Oh,
aye.
I'm sorry. Aye.
All right, so we'll issue that certificate of compliance. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you very much. Night.
Good night.
Thank you.
And then we have these enforcement orders that we talked about last week, which are sort of
Exactly.
friendly enforcement orders,
Right.
just to allow work to be done in a certain time frame. So the first one is 6 Sunset Road, DEP file number 234567.
Yep. So if you remember, Mary Trudeau discussed this with the commission. I had met her and the homeowners out there. We have some disagreement about whether things were actually planted. There was supposed to be, I think, 84 shrubs and 6 trees. So Mary feels as though that is too many plants to put in that area. So she wanted the opportunity to put together a new planting plan and an invasive species removal plan. That would seem to make more sense. So since this is long expired, we needed a mechanism for them to do that. So that is where the enforcement order comes in for us to require them to do that work. So you just need to vote to ratify the enforcement order, and then I can send it off to them.
All right, any discussion?
Was there a
People-
conservation restriction involved with that?
Yeah.
Was that the one with the conservation restriction?
Yes. Yep. So that will be part of it before we close it out. We will need to have a draft of that.
All right, so take a motion to ratify the enforcement order, or do we just vote on it straight?
So you vote to ratify.
Yeah, so I guess once again, do I need a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to ratify?
I move we ratify the enforcement order for 6 Sunset Road. I don't have the DEP number.
It's 234567.
Second,
A second.
all in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Hi.
Peter? Okay, so please send that out. And the second one
Will
is
do.
similar, 112 Edgewater Drive, DEP file number 234534.
Right. So John Rockwood presented that to the commission at the last meeting. So this property has been ongoing, obviously, by the DEP file number of 534. It's been around for quite some time. So the new owners had called me just asking about doing a project, and I said, you still have this open order. So John went out to see what plantings were done, whether they survived, and so the locations that they were planted were not survivable. So John is putting together a new planting plan, and once again, this is the mechanism for them to be able to do the work.
Fantastic. Any questions among the commissioners? Don't see any. So can I have a motion to ratify the enforcement order for 112 Edgewater Drive?
So moved.
I second.
All in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Peter, I. So we will ratify that enforcement order. Well, I'm sorry for being so efficient. We finished our business. Now we can actually get to miscellaneous business. There are some minutes. Before we do that, is there any enforcement violation and anything in that area?
So as far as enforcements go, I was emailed a neighbor of 40 Lake Drive to let me know that she knew that the building department had shut down work on that site, that they had knocked down the house and we're preparing to construct a new house. And so I looked in my emails and I know that Clay had been in touch with a Realtor who asked if they were going to be within our jurisdiction. And Clay sent back an email, yes, they would be. There's a steep slope at the back of the property that goes down to the wetlands. So I went down, talked to the building department, and they didn't even get a building permit. So they just went ahead
Holy
and
cow.
knocked down the house and got caught. So the building department stopped work and also let them know that they were going to need to file with us. So I got the information from the building department and I reached out to the new owner of the property and the Realtor. That's the Realtor is how I found out who the new owner was. And also the site super, I got their information from the building department. So I left both entities messages a few days ago, let them know I was going to go out to the site. Invited them to our meeting tonight. I have not heard a peep from either of them. The good thing is that the foundation is still there. So there isn't any loose dirt or anything that could be moving. There are no erosion controls installed.
Wow.
Yeah, so if I don't hear from them, I would say by Monday, I'll go back down to the building department and see if they can contact them while I'm there so that I can let them know that this is serious and they can be fined.
Well, they should be fined, right? I mean, this is not, I
They,
mean, it should be fined by multiple,
yes,
Yeah.
right?
they should be.
Well, I've
Um,
never even heard.
You never heard of Lake Drive?
No. I've never heard of something like that happening.
Oh, I think
That-
it's happened to us maybe once or twice before.
But even no building.
Yeah, no. So
Yeah, they gotta get a demolition permit too, right?
yes, they're missing many things. So I don't even, I mean, there's no house there, so I don't even have an address to send an enforcement to. I can go attach it to a tree or something.
That's right.
So anyways, I am following up on this. The only good news is I don't think there's anything that's going to be moving over there before we can take care of it.
Got it. So we don't. need
So
to-
I will keep you in the know about
Oh,
that.
got- So I'm sorry, the address was 40 Lake?
40 Lake, yes.
40 Lake. Wow.
So, all right. I'm texting with Janet. I'm sorry, while we're doing this.
You're
And she
saying
said,
so long, Janet. Sorry, Janet.
yeah, she said, is it still going? Kind of thing.
Well, she should come though, because if this is her last meeting, we need to.
Well, I know. She said she thinks she can leave the meeting if she needs to, but
Right.
she wants to bring the commission up to date. So I'll tell her she should do that. And meanwhile, you can talk about the minutes if anyone looked at them. And also the order for MWRA you need to review.
Right,
I
so-
did look last week and text and called Clay about it. But those are two sets of long minutes. So I can't remember what I told him. But
So
I
you want to
think
hold on
Clay,
voting until the next meeting on those?
Yeah, why don't we
yeah.
do that since
You
we've
should-
already gone through a round and
Okay. So you'll have 2 more sets of minutes at least to review for the next meeting as well.
Okay.
So
gotta-
we'll try to get those out.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I got a question that came up at our CPC meeting about, can we approve minutes in bulk? Or do we have to approve them individually? And at the CPC meeting, we concluded that we could approve a whole bunch of them at once. And that's what we did, so,
Well, yeah, we do them a bunch in one meeting.
okay. Because
We
there
we
was some,
just say
there
the
were-
date, the
yeah,
date of,
there was some controversy about that, but I think, it's, I think it's acceptable from what I've heard.
To just sort of expedite it and say,
Yeah,
oh yeah, we're so far behind that we're just happy to have multiple sets of minutes So,
it's nice they're being generated.
yes, definitely.
So once again, the Needham channel has provided a nice service for people.
I need,
If they-
oh,
If
yeah,
if they just want to sort of
watch
figure out,
the,
watch the whole thing to figure out what happened at the meeting.
exactly. All right, so
Um,
I guess you just have to review the MWRA.
Yeah, so that was a long one.
Yes.
Did people look at that? That got sent out earlier today.
Yeah,
Does
I-
anyone get a gold star?
I looked at it. I thought it was fine.
Oh,
I
gold
did it
star,
as well. So can you take us through the special conditions?
sure. I can. Let me see. You should see my office. It looks like a bomb went off in it.
And do you mind screen sharing if you can?
Oh,
Um,
Elisa. Can you screen share the exhibit that I emailed to you?
Again,
Bueller. There she is.
sorry.
No worries.
You want me to share something?
So I emailed out that exhibit A
Yes.
or MWRA.
Yeah.
And I think they were hoping to look at it while I talked about it.
Yes, we did promise we'd do this in public.
9:03. Okay.
Hmm.
Way. Exhibit A. It's a Word document, correct?
I think so, yeah. That's all right, we're stalling for Janet anyways.
Sorry. I need to share my screen now. Oh, there she
Oh.
is.
There she is. We're just reviewing this order and then you have the floor.
Okay, sorry, I'm late.
Would you, do you want to step into chair or do you? just-
Nope, you keep going.
All right, well. Do you think it's gonna happen, Elisa?
Yes.
Okay. Fabulous. Can you just go down to the special conditions? It took me like 3 hours to draft this last night, by the way.
A lot of detail.
There was lots of stuff in there. Okay. So, so obviously I pulled this from another utilities project, which had beginning on day 1 of site activities and continuing until the project construction is complete. Any existing trash, refuse, or discarded items will be removed from the project location and disposed of properly. So I assume that's good, right? They'll be removing trees and brush and debris and all of that kind of stuff. Okay. I'll assume I'll keep that.
Yep.
Then we had gone over this condition earlier. But it's where the Needham Conservation Commission guidelines for reviewing tree removal projects requiring a 2-to-1 tree replacement cannot be fulfilled. Mitigation of a 1-to-1 ratio of tree planting of a minimum of 2.5-inch caliber. Trees, I have to add trees there. To removal will be allowed. The MWRA's contractor shall plant 12 native replacement trees for the trees proposed for removal as shown on the approved plans. The tree species shall be chosen from the list supplied in the guidelines for reviewing tree removal projects document. And the MWRA's contractor shall plant the mitigation trees in locations determined by the town of Needham tree warden, the authority, and approval from conservation staff.
I think the applicant was asking for that to be phrased something like would be determined in consultation with the town of Needham and the conservation staff?
So they wanted to make sure that the authority was added to it because
Yeah.
they're the authority. So because our tree warden can't direct their contractor. So as far as I knew, I thought they just wanted to make sure that we added the authority to it.
That's
that
what's happening. Yes.
Okay. And then mitigation planting will not be allowed between June 15th to September 1st and October 15th to April 1st. We can get rid of that if you want, because assuming that, in talking to Ed, he would rather have the money, which it doesn't seem like he's gonna get. And they are requiring that their contractor actually plant these trees somewhere. So Ed figures they're gonna end up on single-family house lots and suggested they just be planted at his tree nursery. And then as needed, he will dig them up and put them where they need to go. So maybe we could get rid of that one because Ed will be in charge of taking care of them and making sure they survive and they're watered and all of that.
I see. So they're not just relying on natural conditions.
Right. That's my thought on that. And then just number 13, just if they're gonna substitute any erosion controls that they need to let us know. So that's that.
Good.
And I would assume that we wouldn't be doing a 2-year monitoring of the trees.
No, because we won't know where they are necessarily,
That's right. Or they'll be under Ed's direction.
or they'll be in the form of money.
Can
Or
I
they'll
ask,
be in the form of
I
money.
ask a- can I ask a general question?
Sure.
Like they're exempt from local regulations, but they're not exempt from the wetlands regulation, right? The state.
No, it's kind of, they are exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act regulations.
They are.
Yes, as a utility.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought the utilities, I mean, they were exempt from, application, but they weren't exempt from complying with the intent of the regulation.
No, they are, I mean, they have to use best practices,
Okay.
essentially. Best management practices. And they have their own regulation that kind of excludes them from bylaws.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how.
Yeah, that was part of
goes,
their enabling.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's, but they're trying to work with us, and Ed did mention to them, that it's best to try to be friendly and work with us. But at that, they're only doing 1-to-1 mitigation.
Do you want me to unshare? Stop sharing, I mean.
Always share,
Unless
Lisa.
unless there's further discussion, it's fine. Alright.
So they are doing work in the 25 foot. So you'll need to approve a waiver for work in the 25 foot.
Have they requested a waiver of the fee? Or are they subject to the fee?
I don't even think so. So I would just vote to waive the 25 foot requirement.
All right, so we'll want to do that first and then
Yep.
And then move on to the document. All right, so can I have a motion to waive to allow them to work within the 25?
Am I allowed to vote on this?
Do you
That's a
have to
good
vote
question.
on it?
Am I allowed to? I mean, can I vote on it? Or
Yes.
do I just, oh, okay, so yeah.
You haven't abandoned us yet.
I know, well, I didn't know if I didn't hear the whole presentation.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a hearing tonight.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. So I move that you.
Oh, thanks,
waive
Jen.
Waive the 25 foot.
Made a second?
I second.
I second.
All in favor? Dave?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Allison,
Hi.
Janet,
I,
Peter, aye. So that's the waiver and then move to issue the order of conditions.
I move we issue the order of conditions.
And just to make it clear what the order of conditions are for that we're issuing.
For DEP file number 234903.
All right, thank you. Second,
I second.
all in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Allison,
Hi.
Janet,
I
Peter, aye. I guess we've issued it. And there we go.
did it.
I think that's all we're gonna do tonight, except for celebrating Janet.
So I just want to bring you up to date on all of this. Maybe you already know, but so the select board, Kevin Keane, and Tucker and Deb and I and Dave interviewed two applicants. And Steve Farr has said that he would like to also resign at this time. So those two applicants will be appointed. One of them is Fred, who I think Allison spoke to, and he's very passionate about plants and native, and he loves Ridge Hill. And the other one is an attorney, which I think will be
Nice.
really helpful.
Oh, great.
Do you remember his name? Deb?
Lisa does.
Reed Everett, and he
Yeah,
is
right, that's
in
right.
attendance.
Oh, very nice. So, anyway, the select board next week will be appointing both of them. And so my recommendation would be that in your July meeting, you appoint a new chair. I know, Peter, you have said that you're not interested, though I guess that you ran a great meeting tonight because it's already done.
I managed to get rid of a lot of people along the way, Janet, so,
No, a lot of people didn't come tonight.
but
I was wondering about when I started looking at everything today, I was like, ooh, maybe it's gonna be shorter than I thought. I don't, when we talked about it at one of the meetings, nobody really raised their hand. I cornered Dave and he said that he is willing to be chair if you guys decide that you want to vote for that. So that I would just recommend that you kind of set it all up again in your July meeting when you have your new full board. So I just really appreciate everybody on this commission, all of your volunteer hours that you have put in. I know many of you have been with me for 10 years, if not more. I think I figured out Steve had been here for a good 10 years. So I think Allison, have you been on 10 years now?
Not 10 years, no, but like maybe 8, I don't know, a long time.
Yeah, really, it's only been 8. I feel like it's been
Maybe
Mm.
9, I don't know.
the
I don't know.
pandemic kind of made it
It might be
so.
9 because did I get sick, right? I don't know.
Cause you weren't,
Was it before or after?
you took a time off because you had a surgery in your leg or something, and that was like.
My arm, no, that wasn't that long ago. I was trying to, was
A while ago. And Peter, you've been also a good.
A long time.
For a long
No,
time.
I'm now, I guess will be the senior member. I've
Yeah.
done this
Oh,
since
yeah.
2013.
Yeah, I'm not
2013,
that-
I
I'm
couldn't
not
even
that long.
remember when I started. I decided it was 2006, but I'm not really sure. But anyway, so you guys are so great, and I really appreciate all of your energy and your passion and what you bring to this. So thank you for sticking with it. Sue, thank you for staying there and being on the camera. I'm really, I think you're important. You're an important member. And so that's all
Well,
I want.
I don't have a pre-written statement, but I would like to show my appreciation for your service and what it can be a very difficult and trying position. And I
As
think
you've
that
seen tonight.
I mean, I think the commission has been very productive under your leadership. So I'm very happy,
We
particularly
never
given
did
that.
that tree policy, so hopefully you'll get that done when it ever gets slow again. We've been awful busy.
So
Good.
I would like to say I really appreciate the finesse with which you work with the public and with your co-members. I think that you're very deft at what you do and an excellent engineer. And I don't know who's going to do all the drainage calcs and review of all. Is it going to be Dave? I don't know. It's not me.
I think hopefully Tom Ryder is gonna do some of that.
We should get, make sure we have at some point a civil engineer as a member, because I think that's really important. It's great to have a lawyer again. I miss the lawyer. Remember we used to have a lawyer?
Yeah.
And that
We
was
used to have a lawyer. I miss the
but
lawyer.
Dave, I mean, if you wanted, I think Dave, that would be great. I think you're very dedicated and really smart, and I think we're lucky to have
I'm a
you.
civil engineer too.
And you're a civil engineer. Are you going to look at do all the calcs?
I was talking to Janet about that. I mean, some calcs you could trust that they're done in a professional manner.
Oh, okay.
Some look a little
Look
skeezy.
weird.
So
Yeah.
I think I would look at it on a case by case basis.
Okay. Yeah.
But the ones that are done in a professional manner usually only take 5 minutes to look at.
There have been times I remember in the past where you really delved into, I don't know, there was some place somewhere that you spent a long time on the calculations. I remember that.
Not Mosley up.
It was a while ago though. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every now and then there's a tricky one, but that's what the engineering department can also help with that, so.
That's true. That's true. But I just think that I'm going to miss you, and I think the town is going to miss you, and I hope we cross paths again.
Well, we will, because we're in the same
Professionally,
world.
yeah, I mean, I do with your office, but
I know.
individually, so.
So
yeah,
Janet,
thank
you're
you.
not leaving to join the planning board, or?
No, I am just tired. But I mean, I have all these conflicts and I just feel really bad. I'm like on this meeting and I'm like, it's my work meeting and I'm like, well, because I gotta get off. And they're like, they're not gonna talk about stormwater anyway. They're talking about traffic. I'm like, oh my God, they're talking about traffic. So I feel really bad. I feel really guilty when I can't be here because I have to be on a work meeting.
Maybe you can come. Maybe you could come and give comments to.
Yeah.
We'll invite you as
an informed citizen.
Well, Janet, I'm planning to continue texting you during the meetings.
Oh, good. That will just keep me informed. I appreciate that.
know. I will miss you for sure.
I know. Thank you for everything, Janet. I'll miss you.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure we will see each other around town because I am around town at the farmer's market and whatnot. All those good places in town. Yeah.
Well-
no, I really just appreciate this. This has been a great board. So thank you for
Thank you
your
for
time.
all your
Thank you.
years of dedication and service.
Oh, my years.
We'll see you at the ribbon cutting for the Foster property.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
That's right. Come right up.
Definitely. I would like my name on that plaque.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All
Hopefully
right.
it'll happen. But anyway, so thank you. I'm glad I was
Thank
able
you.
to jump back in. I walked out of the other, well, I pushed the button and they disappeared. But anyway, so thanks.
Thanks, Janet.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Janet.
Good luck.
Hey.
All right, last bit of business then. Oh, hold on, Sue. Sue?
No, I'm nothing from me.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right.
all right. Last order of business then, adjourn, and a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Oh, woohoo!
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
All